He said he'd be working late. So I brought him dinner. The office was dark, except for the light in the conference room. I opened the door and froze. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said. I dropped the food. A month later, he came home to a house empty except for one framed picture with my message on the back. "Now you know how it feels. My name's Melissa. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm 42. I've got 2 kids, Claire is 13, Drew is 11. My husband, Nathan, and I had been married for 12 years. I used to think we were solid. Not perfect, but solid. Nathan worked in sales for a medical equipment company. Regional manager. Always traveling, always chasing a number. I worked part-time at a law firm downtown. Nothing fancy. Just enough to keep me busy and help with the bills. We had a routine. We had a system. At least, I thought we did. Looking back, I should have seen the signs earlier. He started staying late at work a lot. First once a week, then twice. Then it became normal. I'd ask him what was going on, and he'd shrug and say, "End of quarter stuff." Always the same line. Big client dinner. Late team huddle. Call ran over. He still kissed me goodbye in the mornings. Still asked me how my day was. Still tucked Drew in when he could. So I ignored it. I didn't want to be the nagging wife. I thought I was giving him space. Trusting him. That's what you're supposed to do in a marriage, right? That night, everything snapped. It was a Thursday. I'd made meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and green beans, his favorite. Claire had a sleepover. Drew was playing Minecraft. I texted Nathan around 6:45 to ask if he was coming home soon. He said he'd be working late. Again. I stared at the plate of food, still hot on the counter, and something in me just moved. I packed it up in a container, wrapped it in foil, and drove down to his office. I didn't even change clothes. I wore sweats and a hoodie. My hair was in a bun. I wasn't trying to catch him doing anything. I really just thought, maybe he's tired. Maybe a surprise dinner would remind him that someone still gives a damn. His office building was half empty when I got there. I used my fob. He'd given me a copy after his first promotion. The lights were low. Only the front security light was on. No voices, no phones ringing. I walked past the receptionist desk, past the break room. All dark. Then I saw it. Light coming from the conference room. Just one light. I walked toward it. I remember thinking, maybe he's on a call. Or maybe he's just wrapping up some work. I didn't expect anything. Not really. Then I opened the door. And I saw them. Nathan was sitting in a chair, pushed back from the long glass table. His shirt was open. Jessica, his assistant, was sitting on top of him, straddling him, skirt up, blouse unbuttoned. Her hands were in his hair. His hands were on her hips. It took me a second to register what I was looking at. It didn't look real. It felt like a nightmare, but one where you're wide awake. Jessica gasped when she saw me. She jumped off him so fast she knocked over a water bottle. Nathan stood up. He didn't yell. He didn't apologize. He just looked at me like I was an inconvenience. "You weren't supposed to see this," he said. "That's all." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "It's not what it looks like." Just that. I was holding the food container in both hands. I didn't know what to say. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there. Then I dropped the food. It hit the floor hard. The plastic cracked. Potatoes and gravy spilled everywhere. I remember the sound. I remember the smell. I turned around and walked out. I didn't say one word. I drove home in silence. For 3 days, I didn't speak to him. He didn't come home. He texted me once, said he needed time to explain. Said it was complicated. There was nothing complicated about it. I wasn't stupid. I wasn't blind. I just didn't want to believe it before. The kids asked where he was. I said he was away for work. I didn't eat. I barely slept. I just kept thinking about that moment. His voice. That sentence. You weren't supposed to see this. Like he was more upset about being caught than what he was doing. I started making a plan. I didn't want to scream or throw things. I didn't want to key his car or light his clothes on fire. That stuff makes you look crazy. And I wasn't crazy. I wanted him to feel it. I wanted him to lose what I'd lost. And I wanted to make sure he couldn't spin it to make me look like the one who broke the family. I started gathering proof. Emails. Texts. Bank statements. Hotel receipts. I printed everything. He was sloppy. He didn't even try to hide the charges. Dinners at expensive restaurants when he was working late. 2 flights booked in his name and Jessica's to Las Vegas. A $300 necklace charged to our joint card. I got a lawyer. Quietly. I asked her what I needed to do to protect myself and the kids. She told me to move fast and stay quiet. So I did. Over the next 3 weeks, I emptied the house piece by piece. Nathan had no idea. He only came by to pick up clothes or take a shower. I let him. I didn't argue. I acted normal. The kids started staying with my sister a few nights a week. I said it was because I was working extra hours. I opened a storage unit under my maiden name. I started packing boxes. 1 room at a time. Photos, jewelry, the good dishes, my grandmother's quilt. Furniture. The kids' clothes. The TV. I sold what I didn't want to keep. Every time Nathan came home, the house looked mostly the same. He never noticed a thing. On the last day, I left one thing behind. A single photo. It was our wedding picture. The one we'd framed and put above the fireplace. I took it off the wall, flipped it over, and wrote on the back, "Now you know how it feels." I put it on the mantel and left the key on the counter. Then I walked out. No note. No warning. Nothing. Nathan called me the next day. I didn't answer. Then he texted. "Where the hell is everything?" Then another. "Is this a joke? Melissa, where are the kids?" Then he started calling. 15 times in an hour. Left voicemails, first confused, then pissed, then begging. I didn't respond to any of it. He showed up at my sister's house that night, banging on the door like a madman. I didn't let him in. My brother-in-law came out and told him to leave. He threatened to call the cops if Nathan didn't back off. Nathan yelled, said I'd kidnapped his kids. Said I was insane. Said he'd call the police, take me to court, sue for custody, freeze the accounts. I didn't flinch. Because by then, everything was already handled. Here's what he didn't know: I'd already filed for divorce. And I'd requested full custody based on his infidelity and poor judgment. I wasn't trying to take the kids away from their dad forever. But I was trying to make sure the court saw who he really was. I had screenshots of texts between him and Jessica, talking about how they'd finally be free of Melissa. About how she couldn't wait to be a stepmom. About how he'd get the kids used to the idea. He wasn't just screwing around. He was planning a whole new life, before ending the one we had. He didn't even have the guts to tell me. And here's the other thing. He wasn't just cheating. He was stealing. I found a separate savings account he'd opened 6 months ago. Under his name only. He'd been funneling money from our joint account into it every payday. Small amounts. Enough to fly under my radar. But over time, it added up. almost $14,000. He was planning to leave me. With nothing. Except I found it first. And I told my lawyer. Jessica didn't take the fallout well. A week after I disappeared, she showed up at the house looking for him. She didn't know I'd emptied it. I don't know what they said to each other that night, but 2 days later, she blocked him on everything. I know because Nathan started texting me again, asking me to talk to her. Said she wouldn't return his calls. Said she thought he was using her. The irony wasn't lost on me. I didn't reply. He tried to save face by posting pictures of him and the kids on Facebook. Old pictures. Ones I had taken. Trying to act like we were still some happy, blended family. His mom even commented, "So glad to see the kids again." That made me snap a little. I messaged his mom directly. I told her everything. I sent her the proof. The receipts. The photos. The texts. I told her to stop pretending like nothing happened, or I'd send everything to her church group and her quilting circle. She never replied. But the next day, Nathan deleted his account. Then he did the one thing I was hoping he'd be dumb enough to do. He filed for shared custody. Tried to paint me as unstable, controlling, jealous. That's when I brought out everything. Court day came. I wore a plain black dress. No makeup. Just calm. Nathan showed up with a new lawyer, trying to play the victim. Said I overreacted. Said Jessica was a mistake. Said I used the kids to get back at him. Then my attorney laid it all out. Every charge. Every message. Every sneaky little bank transfer. Even a security camera clip from the office building. Him letting Jessica in after hours with his access card. When the judge asked if he had anything to say, Nathan looked straight at me and said, "She's doing this to destroy me." I didn't speak. I didn't have to. The judge saw it all. Nathan didn't take the court loss well. The judge granted me full physical custody, with limited visitation rights for Nathan, supervised at first. The judge also ordered him to pay child support and temporarily cover both kids' school and medical costs. His lawyer tried to argue the amounts, but the numbers didn't lie. The income disparity was clear. And the infidelity didn't help his credibility one bit. After the hearing, Nathan caught me in the hallway outside the courtroom. He waited until my lawyer stepped away to take a call. "You think you won?" he said, voice low, tight. "You think this is over?" I didn't answer. I just looked at him. He was sweating. His collar was soaked. His hands were shaking. "You think you're the victim in all this?" he hissed. "You were cold. You pushed me away for years. I deserved better." I wanted to laugh in his face. But I didn't. I just said, "So you got better, at the office. On a conference table. That it?" He didn't respond. Just stared at me like he didn't even know me anymore. Then he said, "You'll regret this. You'll see." 2 days later, he tried to withdraw the money from the secret account. Too late. My lawyer had already filed an injunction. The funds were frozen. He couldn't touch a dime. So he got petty. He started posting vague crap on social media. Some people are so good at playing victim they forget they're the ones who broke everything. Stuff like that. A couple of his buddies from work commented things like, "Stay strong, bro," and "She'll come crawling back." But they didn't know what I had in my back pocket. A week later, I sent a package anonymously to Nathan's old job. It included printed text messages between him and Jessica that discussed cutting corners on client reimbursements. 3 receipts showing double billing on hotel expenses, once from the company card, once from the client invoice system. And a USB drive with audio recordings of Nathan bragging on the phone to one of his buddies about milking mileage, reports and padding numbers to get his commission up. I had the recordings because, for a few days after he left, I still had access to our shared phone plan. I pulled up his call logs and found one number he called constantly, some golf buddy named Brad. Then I synced our old Amazon Alexa from the house and found his linked voice recordings. He hadn't unpaired it yet. He never thought I'd check. I did. 2 weeks later, Nathan lost his job. They didn't just fire him quietly either. He was investigated internally and flagged for ethics violations. His name got blacklisted from his old industry within a month. Word got around fast. That was the twist he didn't see coming. He called me drunk one night. "I lost everything because of you," he slurred. I just said, "No. You lost everything because of you." Then I blocked his number. Jessica, by the way. She moved to Chicago. Got a job at a fitness startup. Rebranded her whole online image. New name on social, new hair color, different vibe. She wanted to erase the whole mess. But people talk. It only took one Reddit post, an anonymous vent from a former coworker about the office affair that blew up corporate, and her new team figured out who she was. 3 months into her new job, she was let go without cause. Last I heard, she moved back in with her parents in Saginaw. Nathan tried reaching out to her again. She didn't respond. Then came the real kicker. Nathan's mom, who once told me I should forgive and keep the family together, called me sobbing. Said Nathan was depressed. Said he was talking about doing something stupid. Said he hadn't left the house in days. I didn't want to care. But part of me still did. So I agreed to let him see the kids, supervised, in a public place, for 1 hour. He showed up late, looking thinner, paler, older. He sat across from Drew at a table in the mall food court and started crying when Drew showed him his science fair medal. Claire wouldn't talk to him at all. When the hour was over, he tried to hug them. They both stepped back. He looked at me like I'd poisoned them. I didn't say anything. After that visit at the mall, Nathan stopped trying. No more calls. No more threats. Just silence. A part of me thought that was the end. I had what I wanted. Full custody. Stability. Truth on my side. He was publicly ruined, financially wrecked, and personally humiliated. But I still didn't feel done. Because he got to blow up our life. He got to betray me, risk our kids' future, and treat our marriage like it was something disposable, and I was just expected to move on? No. He left scars. I just hadn't finished showing him mine. The revenge part that came next wasn't loud. It wasn't public. It was slow, personal, and final. I had access to everything. Bank accounts, tax records, credit history. Nathan never changed his passwords. Even after everything. So I filed one last anonymous report. This time to the IRS. See, Nathan had been creative with his write-offs. A little too creative. And when I looked closely at the last few years, I saw all the pieces: fake work meals, personal Amazon orders listed as business supplies, and multiple business trips that were really vacations with Jessica. And now that he was unemployed, there wasn't anyone around to clean up the mess for him. It took about 6 months, but eventually, he got audited. And it wasn't small. They slapped him with back taxes, penalties, and interest, over $37,000. He tried to contest it. Didn't work. I heard through his sister that he had to take out a personal loan just to pay part of it. But with no job, no references, and a black mark from his old company, he had to borrow from a private lender, with awful terms. High interest. Short repayment window. By the end of the year, he was forced to sell his car. Then his condo. He moved back in with his mom. 50 years old. Sleeping in the same room he grew up in. He started driving Uber. I saw his profile once. 5 stars. Friendly service. Just a guy starting over. Pathetic. As for me, I kept rebuilding. I got a promotion at the law firm. Full-time, better pay, my own office. The kids adjusted. Therapy helped. Claire stopped blaming herself. Drew started sleeping through the night again. Slowly, the chaos became routine. Calm. I even started dating. Nothing serious yet. But it felt good to smile again and mean it. But the final piece of the story didn't come from me. It came from Nathan's own self-destruction. He showed up at our daughter's school play drunk. It was a small show, parents, teachers, kids performing little skits. Claire was in the front row with her group. Nathan came in late, loud, stumbling. Reeked of vodka. He sat down behind me, leaned forward, and said, "You proud of this little act? You think they'll ever forgive you for taking me away?" I didn't turn around. I just said, "If you say one more word, I'll have you removed." He did. So I did. The principal called security. They escorted him out, in front of a room full of parents. Claire cried. Drew just looked tired. That was the last straw. The next morning, I filed a restraining order. The court granted it. Fast. 3 months passed. Then one day, I got a letter. No return address. Handwritten. It was from Nathan. He said he was leaving town. That he couldn't take it anymore. That he lost everything and didn't know who he was anymore. He said he was sorry, too late and too broken to fix it, but sorry anyway. I never responded. He moved to Florida. Daytona Beach. His sister said he's working the front desk at a low-end motel. He still drinks. Still blames me. But people there don't know who he used to be. Or what he lost. That's his punishment. Living every day in the wreckage of what he built. No career. No family. No respect. He destroyed his own life thinking he was smarter than me. Thinking I'd stay quiet. Thinking I'd forgive him. I didn't. The picture frame is still with me. The one I left behind that day. The wedding photo. I took it back after he moved out. I keep it in a box in my closet. Sometimes, when the house is quiet and the kids are asleep, I pull it out. Not because I miss him. But to remind myself what I survived. And what I took back. My life. My kids. My voice. I look at that photo. And I smile. Because I remember what I wrote on the back. Now you know how it feels. And now? He does.